Oh, let me get a redo. There we go. We're live.
All right.
Woo! We made it.
Start this draft up. Let's go. Back in the saddle again. The NFL Combine has come and went, so we are now post Combine when we hit some ADPs up. See what the changes have been to the rookies, who's moving up, who's moving down. We've got plenty of shows already. We got a rookie mock out and a post Combine reaction, so check that out. But we are back live. We'll be back live a week from now. And then hitting another one of these all off season long for your pleasure. We got old Big D on the horn. How you doing, buddy? Been a minute.
It's been a minute, man. I'm doing great. It's rocking and rolling.
Oh yeah. Well, we're off to a quite a chalky start, but we got Josh Allen at the 1-1, Mahomes at the 1-2, Hurts at the 1-3, and Lamar Jackson at 1-4. You know, maybe 1-4. Lamar isn't terribly chalk, but I'm not terribly upset by it. Big D, what are your thoughts here? You like Lamar at 1-4?
Heck yeah! I mean, he's showing that that he's rocking and rolling, and I'm getting a little bit of a loop back. I'm not sure if you guys are hearing that, but
I'm just getting draft sounds right now. But yeah, so we got Lamar, we got Justin Jefferson, we got Herbert. We are off and rolling. The Combine is, like I said, come and went, and we got some interesting information there. Not only just who did what as far as the Combine, but some rumors and whatnot of kind of what might be going on. Kirk Cousins potentially to Atlanta. Saquon Barkley not getting franchise tagged. That wasn't even anything that happened at the Combine, but so we got a lot of interesting things kind of cracking. But we got free agency right around the corner. You got any thoughts here, Big D?
oh, sorry. No, I'm a little surprised with the Anthony Richardson there at 110. I like it. I was just thinking about him as he's going to move up. But yeah, from the Combine perspective, man, it was a fun Combine. You always like to see the records broke, and dude catching 2 passes on drills, and you know there was some fun stuff going on there. I think in the running back class, I really like the I don't know, the incognito-ness of this class, you know, being able to see them all almost side by side and just kind of get a better gauge of what they look like, not just on individual film, but on the field together. So that was fun.
Yeah, I think we kind of knew going into it, but it's not a we have some good stuff at the top, but then it is pretty deep with some good players. It's not outstanding as far as how many players, at least we don't think, but you know, all of a sudden, half the way through this NFL season that's upcoming, we could be like, oh man, there was 12 really, really awesome players and 12 more really good players in this draft. So but I think it's really deep. It's probably the hall of pretty good in this draft.
So deep
with some really solid, seemingly can't miss guys at the top, but you know how that goes. Somebody's probably going to miss. Boom, a little fresh crack.
There it is.
We're kind of off and rolling now. We've got Herbert at 1-6, Stroud at 1-7, Burrow at 1-8, Chase at 1-9. Like you said, Anthony Richardson at 1-10, Caleb at 1-11, CeeDee Lamb at 1-12. St. Brown at 2-1, Kyler at 2-2, like that. Then we got Bijan and Breece Hall, so that's nice little start there in the startups we've been doing. I've been seeing at least Breece Hall maybe fall down. The running backs even fall down a little bit. People are eager to get what the main currency is in Dynasty right now, them young wide receivers. So they're willing to push some running backs down. And especially, you get a couple of quarterbacks and you get a couple of those younger wide receivers in there, and all of a sudden Breece Hall, you might get him I think I just got him at 210 in the draft. There's just any given draft can kind of unfold any given way. You feel like you need a quarterback, or you feel like you want that young wide receiver, and all of a sudden the running backs are pushed down. But not here. We got Bijan and Breece going 2-3 and 2-4, and then Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson. So think we just did one where we saw Malik Neighbors go before Marvin Harrison in a startup, which, hey, to each your own. You do you.
It's not for me, but you do what you got to do. Right? I mean,
it's always fun to have that opposite, opposite thought process. I mean, Neighbors, I don't think is too far behind Marvin and the analysis world, and so landing spots can definitely change the way people feel, and it'll be interesting to see. I like the start here for Lane, Awesome Brian, and Pimp Juice. We got three teams going no quarterback in the first 2 rounds. That's going to be fun to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, the board's kind of going to fall a certain way, and sometimes you do what you got to do. And again, this is a mock. We're trying to figure it out, build things in different ways. If you build your team exactly the same way every time, I mean, what are you really doing here?
Exactly. Yeah.
You got to figure out what you like, what you don't like, where you made mistakes. And again, every draft is going to be a little different. Doesn't matter what ADP you're using or how many mocks you've done. And a lot of, 80% of them go one way. Well, sometimes you're just not going to be able to pull off some of the things that you pull off, depending on who's in that room with you on any given draft.
Just make sure you pull out.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Braden Brinson. Happy birthday, Bo. Thanks for tuning in, man. Hope you have a good one. Use it to your advantage. It's just
buddy. Happy birthday.
Birthday is really just an age. Age is just a number. Age is just a word, really.
Well, certain numbers are better than others. So,
sure.
Certain birthdays are better than others.
I find other people put more stock in birthdays than I do, so I try to use that to my advantage. Like, I'll use it as an excuse to get some cake and get people together, maybe try and levy, politic for things my way. But I could really care less that today is my,
I'm more of let me get an event to go do something, like a reason to be like, all right, it's my birthday. We're gonna go do go to a show or go somewhere or go. That's what I want to use the birthday powers for.
Painting class. Yeah.
Sure. It was a gift. I'm keeping it.
Hey, if you weren't paying attention at the top of the draft, the first surprise just happened. We have a 3rd round reversal on our hands, folks.
Yeah. Well, I hit him. I told him what it was.
Yeah. Love the 3rd round reversal. Got to do that.
Got to do it. Superflex especially.
Yeah, Superflex really is the rationale why we do the 3rd round a lot of the times. It's just those first 4 to 6 picks, you're getting the cream of the crop of quarterbacks, and it's hard to, you're not gonna. You certainly can hit, like Anthony Richardson can hit. Stroud can, we think Stroud's going to be awesome, and Burrow is going to be awesome. So I mean, but really, the front half of this draft is getting the really, really good known quarterback play, and then the back half of the draft is still getting good shots, but seems to even the playing field a little bit to not give them the back-to-backs on the second go-round.
Yeah, for real.
So, picking up where we were, we had Garrett Wilson. We had Jordan Love at 2.7. We got A.J. Brown at 2.8. T-Law at 2.9. Puka at 2.10. Christian McCaffrey at 2.11. And then Gibbs going 2.12. We've been seeing Gibbs in the 3rd-ish round a lot of the times. Again, I think just like I was talking about those running backs getting pushed back, Gibbs is kind of the last man in there. So sometimes he even gets pushed down to this 3rd round reversal here, which is super interesting. But there's Dak in the 3rd round. That's ridiculous. Malik Neighbors 3.2. That's solid. Laporta, first tight end off the board here. And then Fields at 3.4. As much shit as we've talked about Fields, and not even from a perspective of that, I don't think he's a good fantasy quarterback. As a regular quarterback, I just think he's okay. And how many chances will he get? But I think we're getting to the point where, mid 3rd round, sometimes late 3rd round Fields is that could be a really huge advantage,
Yeah, that's delicious.
You're worried about the long term of Fields because you get traded. You only have so many opportunities now at that point. And then if things go south one more time for whatever reason, now your opportunity at the next stop is going to be even more limited. And that's the only thing I worry about Fields. I think he's a fine player. We'll see in a different setting kind of what happens, because I don't think there's any way they don't take Caleb Williams at this point. All signs pointing to Caleb there. But for fantasy purposes, he's always going to be dynamite. And he was. I mean, you start him, he's great. If he's on the field, he's awesome. And plug him in Atlanta potentially. I've heard Kirk. I've heard Fields. You plug him in Atlanta, it's probably going to be awesome. You plug him in, which Pittsburgh said they're not really interested, but I just feel like at this point, Justin Fields in the third feels really, really, really strong.
Yeah, I love that. I love that value all day. Fields is one of the guys I'm watching, and later on in this draft we'll see. But the other, uh, Danny Dimes is also someone I'm watching. You know, draft day value could be depending on which directions the Giants go. I mean, those two running floor quarterbacks are valuable, and when we evaluate outside of the NFL and we evaluate just in our fantasy bubble, like, you know, if Danny Dimes is starting again, load me up, baby. I'm on it. You know.
I mean, it would almost seem like the Giants would start him this year, and then whether they draft somebody or not. I mean, obviously, if maybe you draft somebody in the top 15, maybe they do just pull the plug on Danny Dimes, but maybe you sit him for a year, let Jones play, and then, you know, either cut him because I think they do have an option, but there'd be a lot of dead, or trade him.
Yeah.
So, you know, Daniel Jones has been a favorite of mine here late. The value is really good on him, and we've seen what can be from the fantasy. And then if you're not paying what you were paying last year, where it was 4th, 5th round,
Right.
Jones in the 10th round is very intriguing to me. Even if it doesn't work out, maybe he doesn't play this year or next year somewhere, but he'll probably play again somewhere. And at the 10th round, it really doesn't cost you anything, but he could play, and he could go back to where he was in, you know, 2022 there, where he had a really good fantasy season, obviously using those legs like you mentioned. So we've picked up here. We're at Gibbs. We got Dak at 3-1, Neighbors at 3-2, Laporta at 3-3, Fields at 3-4, Bowers at 3-5, Jaden Daniels at 3-6, Chris Olave at 3-7, Drake May at 3-8, Tyreek Hill at 3-9, Rome Odunze at 3-10, Brock Purdy at 3-11, and Brandon Ayuk rounding out the third round 3-12 here. We got McBride and Andrews going 1-2 in the fourth, and then Jonathan Taylor and Pittman 4-4. So Pittman getting the franchise tag from Indy.
Yeah.
Had to kind of there's no way they were letting him out the door one way or the other, right? I mean, you got to keep Pittman around.
Yeah, it's not just his production on the field. From all indications of the fans that I know that are big time into the Colts, he's kind of a heart and soul kind of guy there too, right? It's not just his production. He's part of the locker room, part of the culture, if you will. So it makes a lot of sense that they bring him back.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see if they negotiate further of trying to figure out a long-term situation with the cap going up. You got a quarterback on the rookie deal. Can we get Pittman in here long-term? Because he seems to be, like, you know, like you said, on all fronts, a piece to the puzzle. And if you could just surround him with, you know, one more good receiver, which I think Downs is there, and maybe you can get a tight end in the building, just get a little more talent on the offense there that scares you. I mean,
yeah, give me Holloway Brown on that offense. Ooh,
yeah,
buddy. I'd love it.
Let's go. But I love the idea of bringing Pittman back. JT's locked up, so Colts going back to back, and then ET at 4-5. So he's fallen down maybe a hair here. 2 at 4-6. Jalen Waddle at 4-7. DJ Moore at 4-8, and now we got Austin Bryan on the clock.
I've seen Travis Etienne slip even further in some of these mocks we've been doing the last couple of days. We had a question from Ryan. He's asking Rome Odunze there at 310. Is that early for him? I'm looking at the ADP that we have compiled pre-NFL Combine, and Rome Odunze was at 504, wide receiver 19. Here he went 310. So that's a pretty big jump post-Combine from the ADP. Is that, I don't know if you already touched on this, but like, is that too high, or you like that? You dislike that?
I mean, listen, I'm very pro Rome Odunze. I like him. I think he's the third wide receiver off the board, but I don't have a huge gap in between him, Harrison, or Neighbors. So I'm fine with it. I'm always just playing the game where how late can I get Rome? And you know, that's really what I want to do. But 310, it seems like it will be a little early from where we potentially were, but I don't think it will be at the end of the day. He went out there and, you know, performed well at the combine, and, you know, showed up and wanted to run the 3-cone a million times to try to get a little faster, but ran a good 3-cone.
Just kept kicking that last cone.
So, I love everything about Rome Odunze. I mean, would you rather have Pittman? It's it's the old adage, which, you're okay with taking Marvin Harrison early and you're okay with taking Neighbors early. I mean, if you feel that Rome is up in the platform anywhere near those guys, then, what's wrong with it? Why not take him over? I love Drake London. I love Tank Dell. I like DJ Moore. I like Jalen Waddle. I like Michael Pittman, and we kind of know what we're getting from all those guys. Drake is the one with a little bit of question mark. If we could get some consistency at quarterback play, I think the ceiling is the roof there. But Rome over any of those guys, I think that's a question mark for me. As far as not in the way I was just framing it. Like I would say I can't say with strong conviction that I for sure would take Michael Pittman over Rome Odunze, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore, Drake London. But that's a me personally and how I feel about it. I mean, you're sitting over there with a Washington hat on, so it's the old do you want what's known, the bird in the hand,
yes,
kind of deal. And I think in most
startups for sure.
I think in most cases that's probably pretty smart. But there comes a point where I think the value is kind of right on point there, and I really, really like what Rome Odunze can be. I mean, I think he can basically be any of those guys and more that I listed off that went after him. So I guess that's kind of the way I see it. Big D, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Odunze for me is I know he was going to rise because he was the only of the big three, right? He was the only one that participated in the combine.
And he
Big
didn't
three
blow
wide
it.
receivers didn't blow it. Looked decent. Did a little half twist, backflip, gymnastic move on the field.
He did a
running
gainer.
off. Yeah, gainer. Yeah.
He gained that bitch up from the ground.
And you watch him, watch him on punt returns and stuff like that. His body's a lot more agile than we think it is, and so I don't mind the play. I mean, you flip those two picks, JT and Odunze. If he takes Odunze at 4.3, I think that's closer to ADP, but wants to make sure he gets them, and I'm all for it, man. I think Nico Collins would probably be the only one for me that would be, I probably would have took Nico over him. But the rest of those wide receivers, I think it's pretty, pretty on par. His value is going to, be determined by draft value, as with DJ Moore. I mean, one of the mocks has him going to Chicago, and Odunze is terrific. So if they get a decent running back in free agency, they get Odunze. I don't know where I feel about DJ Moore's value, right? So maybe DJ Moore's a little high at 4.8 if they're loading up there in Chicago for Caleb and a rookie quarterback. But right now we know what we know, and I think both of them ancillary wise, I think that, I think both values are decent. So
yeah, I think going to my personal rankings, I got Rome Odunze right at where Jalen Waddle is basically. So and I got Jalen Waddle above all those other guys that the Pittmans and the Moores and all that stuff. So if I look at the rankings, that's kind of where I feel about him. I haven't been having to take him where I have him ranked, but now if we're getting down to the brass taxes of things, then yeah, I guess so. So let's bring you up to speed here. We got Achane going 4.9. We got Drake London 4.10, Tank Dell 4.11, TJ Hawkinson 4.12, and then your boy Nico Devonta Smith at 5.2 seems to just be gaining more and more just value of just what a fun pick that is. Jared Goff at 5.3. Rashee Rice 5.4, JJ McCarthy at 5.5, JSN at 5.6, DK at 5.7, Kyron at 5.8. I'd like to see Kyron a little higher. I think that's really, really good value on Kyron. Like Lane Kiffin just came out here and put together a squad. Now he needs to figure out his quarterback situation a little bit. So we'll monitor that as we go forward here. But T Higgins at 5.9. I think that's probably a pretty solid value there. Kyle Pitts 5.10. Zay Flowers 5.11, Jordan Addison 5.12, and now we just been rolling. We're right into the 6. You guys are drafting fast, man. Dalton Kincaid 6.1, Stephon Diggs 6.2, Deebo Samuel 6.3, Kenny Walker 6.4, Travis Kelce 6.5, Xavier Worthy. That's way above where we've been seeing him going. I've been taking him in like the 8th round, and I feel like I could probably let him even go further since he broke the record. This is what we're doing. Post combine, we got a big mover and a shaker, and we've had Odunze be a mover and a shaker. And now we got, Ken Walker at at 6'4" seems like a really solid value. And then you got Saquon coming at 6'7". Saquon and Josh Jacobs, that mid 6 feels so good taking those guys right there. Obviously, it depends on how you're building the team out a little bit. If you're just productive struggling, then of course I don't want to take those guys. But if I think I'm building a half decent winner, wheels up.
Is that a dime? What is it? You guys know what a dime is? Like, what even is that? How did that end up there?
Metal currency.
Yeah, like dime is.
Dude, you talk about Danny Dimes, it comes to fruition. It's out of nowhere.
Dime sacks
don't
aren't
know
even
what
a
to
thing.
You say Danny Dimes enough, dimes just start appearing in random
they
places.
start going.
About what he's worth.
You need 10 cents at the cashier. You just start saying Danny Dimes a couple times. All of a sudden, it's like Beetlejuice.
You just go hit the bathroom, turn the lights off, say Danny Dimes 3 times. And you're good to go. So Tajay Spears goes above Josh Jacobs. Can't recommend that, but I do like it.
Recommend that.
But I do like it. Then George Kittle goes 6'9". He's been a value in our FFD ADP startups for sure. But
where is George Kittle?
So Saquon
702 is generally his
Saquon
ADP pre-combine.
Basically going to be able to test the market. It seems things could happen over the next couple of days, but we don't know. But Texans, which we've been talking about, early emergence of possible landing spot for Saquon Barkley. I mean, that's gotta get you real excited, right, Big D?
Oh yes, I would love it, man. Anything that gives Stroud a little bit more stability and some check down juice, because I don't think he had that a lot in his rookie year, right? I mean, obviously Singletary and Pierce did okay, but like I don't think there was that ancillary pull off. They signed the tight end to that extension today. Man, it's wheels up in Houston. Texans are looking good, man.
Got some salary cap. Everybody's cap went up a little bit. They got the rookie quarterback.
It went up $30 million, Bo. Like the most it's ever gone up.
And then they get Dalton Schultz. So which huge Dalton Schultz podcast over here. Been crushing Schultz all last year and all off season, baby. So I hope he stays right where that value's been, because when Schultz was healthy, he was cooking. And I expect it to move forward. And I said after the season, how can they not? You just struck gold on a quarterback, and Schultz seemingly already has a pretty good rapport with him. Like, why would you let him walk? I mean,
safety blanket there, right? It doesn't make sense. I could see if they bring in like a Barkley or something, that production value taking a little bit of a hit because of the check down I was just talking about. But yeah, I mean, Schultz is wonderful.
If Barkley could go to the Texans, that would be the best case scenario owner, because you either like, oh shit, Barkley wheels up, or oh shit, I can move off Barkley for some good value.
Yeah.
I mean, it's best case scenario for everybody.
I think really just any change of team. I think at this point, Barkley would probably take a little less money to be on a winner, right?
Yeah.
It seems like he would, not a terrible amount less, but like,
nah, man, go get your money. Running backs can't be doing that shit.
He should be getting
running backs cannot be doing that.
He should be getting his money. He's got some decent money at this point, but I feel like he could go get on a better roster and just show what he could do. And I think that might be, something that might be a little more important to him than an extra $2 or $3 million.
Man,
yeah, I'm right there with you.
You're good in a running back, and you could go get some money. You should do that, because you're just hurting your other fellow running backs if you don't take the most money possible, or else all y'all just
But it doesn't
out.
even matter though. Like that's not even valid, because there doesn't matter. Like some running backs got paid, and now they're not. Like it is what it is. Go play for a good team and raise the tide of what a running back can be. Like Christian McCaffrey just showed you on a good team that the running back can really matter. It's all situational, man. Like,
we either play for a good team or a big market, because in a big market you can get individual endorsements. So sometimes we don't talk about that in contracts for NFL, but a lot of times the reason why those big markets draw people, especially if they're going to be a face of a franchise, is because they're going to get large marketing deals outside of that. Here up here in Seattle, I mean, Marshawn Lynch is a legend, but he's still on freaking Beacon Plumbing. He's a sponsor for a plumbing company around here. You know what I mean? And so there's all kinds of ways that they can get there if they take a little bit short. But this is the first year in a long time that there's really I think a market where it's a seller's market. It's a running back market. With the incoming class, the question marks at the running back position, and it feels like the running back free agents, there seems to be some juice to get the running backs, and I like to see it. I like to see them get their day, get a little bit of a payday. I'm kind of with Jay on that side of it. Is like you go to a
Sure.
decent market, get your payday. You know, Saquon ends up in Texas, or he stabs the Giants fans' heart and goes to Dallas, or he ends up on a run only team in the Chargers. That's what that's one of the rumors is they're
Hey,
only going to run now.
Even if you go to the Chargers, that's a pretty solid deal, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, all three of
know,
those. That would
it's
be
not, none of those
ecstatic.
things you named. Like if you're going to go there and get paid, sure, but like just don't go to some terrible franchise that you're just not going to get, any run, and you're not going to be any good. And you're
Well,
just
some
gonna be in the
terrible
same
franchise probably isn't going to want to pay
position. I mean,
a running back.
that's what some bad franchises can do, though. They can go just, I'm going to throw some money at this guy. We're gonna compete this year, and then it's like, oh, we're right. Like I'm just saying, Saquon could sacrifice $1 million or $2 million a year and go somewhere and actually try to win, and then you can make that. Like he's gotten paid. He was a top draft pick. Got some cash, got 10, 12, 13 million or whatever for this year. Like you can go get it. You're still going to get some cash. Just maybe take a little bit less and go somewhere that you can fucking win, man. I feel like he wants to win and he deserves to win. So, I mean,
he's hurting that franchise tag number. If
I'm not going to begrudge anybody for going to get their money, but
I'm going to encourage it for every single running back because or just all hold out. Everybody needs to hold out and stop playing running back.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
And then they'll pay you.
It is. I think you pointed to a good point, Big D, that, the incoming market, from my perception is like there are some pretty good ones, but it's not like there's these awesome RB1s coming in to save the running back position for some franchises. And now some teams can play it like the Chiefs, but the Chiefs can play it that way because they're the fucking Chiefs. You ain't the Chiefs, bub. Most of y'all ain't the Chiefs. Like it ain't going to work that way. So, you need a good one. And I think Josh Jacobs, who just went here, is a really good one that I can't wait for him.
The value on that is just insane. 8-3, man.
Oh, that doesn't even, that makes no sense. I'm taking him before every running back after Saquon Barkley. And I'm probably taking him before Barkley because he's a year or two younger.
Yeah.
Like, Josh Jacobs has done nothing but be an RB1 when he plays games.
Yeah, regardless of the coach, even if the coach doesn't want him to be,
So yeah, let's catch you up here with where we've been at. If you're going to listen on the podcast later, let's hit you with George Pickens, or no, sorry, wrong end. Brian Thomas goes 7-1, which is, I think that's probably right about where he's been going. Bryce Young at 7-2, Christian Kirk 7-3. James Cook 7-4, AD Mitchell 7-5, so that's a nice jump for him. Franklin 7-6, Rashi Rice, Rashad White 7-7, pretty standard fare there. Kirk Cousins 7-8. So Lane Kiffin doing a really nice job there. Took Drake May. We don't really know what's going on, but then he grabs Kirk, and then he got Baker on the next pick 8-5. So he put himself in a really good position to stay right in it here. So I really like those two grabs. Not the funnest, sexiest picks right there.
Competitive roster, man. He's got Kelsey on there. It looks good.
Puts you, and you got 2 RB1s and 2 of the top 5 wide receivers. Like, let's go.
Brian Thomas 7-3 in the pre-combine ADP. So
yeah, we're right around there.
I would expect more of a rise actually.
Cooper Kupp 7-9. That's a little high, I think, from what we've been seeing.
Pretty high.
Pacheco 7-10. Like, no chance I'm taking Isaiah Pacheco over Josh Jacobs. Not a chance in hell. Now this guy wrapped around and got Josh Jacobs again there. So
reached around. Cooper Kupp 904 in the pre-combine ADP.
Mike Evans 7-11 because
all day.
George Pickens 7-12. Lad McConkey, look at that, 8-1. The value's going on Lad. Son of a bitch.
There we go.
He was mine in every draft.
Crank it up, baby. Not anymore, buddy.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
There goes Joe Mixon 8-2. Josh Jacobs 8-3. Trey Benson, baby. The first rookie running back off the board, right? Brooks isn't gone. Okay, Brooks just went. But yeah, Benson first rookie running back off the board. Then Baker, Javonte Williams just slept on. He stays in them jammies. David Njoku 8-7. Terry McLaurin 8-8. Matthew Stafford 8-9. Najee Harris 8-10. And then Jonathan Brooks. And you are now caught up. We did a Patreon episode to highlight a little Terry and some of these older guys of Big D having a competitive roster. And man, if you're at the back end of this draft right now and you got a competitive roster, I know, typically that could mean that you're a little on the older side of things, but I think we had a fun discussion over there of like, instead of making that 112 or 111, you just won, you got, just load it up again, go grab yourself a Terry McLaurin, just slept on and a great player. See if you can snag him for the 112. I think I just saw that in one of the FFPCs that we're in. Somebody might have just, a really good team who stays really competitive, just went and grabbed Terry. Like if the Skins, if the Commanders get a quarterback, Terry we already know what it is with Terry, right? When Terry,
all you need is Jacoby Brissett.
You just need somebody to throw to him, and not that I think that the quarterback situation was terrible last year. It was just the way it was drawn up that they were throwing the ball around wasn't necessarily going. Then you saw, like you said, Brissett get in there and go to him. So I love the Terry value that you can get right now.
That game with Jacoby Brissett coming in throwing to Terry McLaurin in like the second or third quarter cost me so much money. I'm so salty, and I love F1. Like, we've been a big Terry McLaurin proponent on this show since he came out, and he just destroyed me that day. That was devastating.
Yeah, no,
because he had done shit.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what that offense looks like without Eric there. Eric the enemy. It's just I don't know. It's still dumbfounding to me. I'd love to talk with some of the analytics boys, because like the fact that Sam Howell threw as much as he did and the lack of production on that team is just I don't know, man. It's insane to me how the Commanders just didn't seem to produce the numbers that you would have thought, just based off the passing offense.
It just seemed like they were, they would get away from the run really quickly.
Yeah.
And then they'd be throwing a million times a game. And then it would just, I feel like and then he was getting sacked a million times. So it was just like, let me throw it to this third guy who is being potentially schemed to open maybe, or just has the best matchup, or this is where I like to go with it. And I don't have a great explanation of why, but we know it's nonsense. Like, it's not because Terry isn't any good, and I don't think it's because Jahan Dotson isn't any good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm laughing because the Austin in the chat said a fun fact about you, Casey.
What's that?
Casey was born and raised in Washington.
I was not.
Love it, baby. Got a Odunze. We got some Penix going on. It's pretty soon he's going to have a Seahawk jersey.
I will never.
It's insane how it's going.
But I mean, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to not root for an awesome, very fun to watch team? I can't help it that most of the other people in this great nation didn't wake up to the fact that Washington's been a great watch for 2 freaking years, man. And how much fun is the talent that's coming out of there right now? Penix to the moon, Rome Odunze to the moon, Jalen McMillan slept on, and Polk will probably be good too.
Hell yeah!
It was a lot of fun.
Look at any of the Monday night football. See how many times you hear Washington in there, buddy. It's they're around. They're
around.
I met Buda Baker's cousin the other day. That's that was my claim to fame when at the puppy class with Luna. So
nice.
Man, this draft's rolling, buddy. But there's some fun teams building up here. I like the way that it's laying out. There's I like the stab at Young at 7-2 with established quarterbacks. Why not? I mean, that could be an instant value bump. Stevens at 9-2. That's, to me right now, that's great value. I love Monty. Monty's high in my rankings because
9-1's good value.
That's great value. I love that. We're looking good. We're looking good, boys. Good drafting. Way to draft. Way to press those buttons.
Big block of green here on the back half of this draft. We got Najee, Brooks, Kamara, David Montgomery, Ramondre, and Marshawn Lloyd going 9-3. So that's a nice little grouping there. Marshawn Lloyd, one of the third rookie running back off the board. So he's come up a good bit. I really like what Marshawn Lloyd has been putting down on tape, really diving into the running backs here soon. Me and Austin will be talking about some running backs for your pleasure tomorrow, but you might not see that till next week. I think Najee at 8-10 is a solid value. Ramondre Stevenson, and like those are just all really, really good values at that back half of that board right there. So Good pick in there, and I don't think any of those guys outside of Coco being there had a running back, so they all just doubled up right there, got what they needed, and then he had Bijan, so that's awesome. And then he's got the rookie mixed in there, so
he's got Bijan in the big boys club after that. So that's
right.
That's an intimidating running back room.
So they've got some fun builds. Pimp Juice over here, he's got CD, St. Brown, Dak Prescott, TJ Hawkinson. So a nice little murderer's row starting, and then we got Nico and Watson, and then he throws his first rookie in there, so he's pretty set with his starting 3 wide receivers. You throw one in the flex, you only have to start 2 because we're not communists. And then you got Alvin Kamara coming in at 8-12, which he's a big Alvin Kamara drafter. I've seen enough Pimp Juice to know that he's going to pull the trigger on Alvin Kamara. And then, Montgomery. So he gets just 2 really reliable starters there. And Watson, the value at 6-12, Deshaun Watson, that is 6-12
Deshaun Watson. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
what is that?
You got to push all those Clemson players down. Just push them down.
That's not real.
It happens, man. People don't like Deshaun. Character issues, and then they don't
rub them the wrong way. I mean,
yeah, that's right. And they stink. He stinks, and they hate him.
Yeah.
But I'll take it, man. I mean, we saw that with the rushing upside kept the floor pretty high, even when he wasn't having great games. He was still scoring decent fantasy points for most of his season last year, even though it's most people don't like it. That's the truth. That's the facts. Big facts. And the upside of what can happen is ridiculousness. It's top 5, top 8 quarterbacks if he can get back to any semblance of kind of where he was. Maybe not the best scheme fit for him, but kind of growing and learning and getting into that. And when they guarantee you a lot of money, you go there. So Deshaun Watson at 6-12, I think that's really good value, and especially for his team build. And then he added Penix here as a rookie quarterback like that. So now he's got 3.
Dubs up.
We'll see where Penix lands in the actual draft, because if he gets first round capital, you will be no longer getting him in the 10th round.
Ryan asks, what's the guess on where Hollywood goes? Which is he? I know he's a free agent, and are they going to re-sign him, or are they letting him walk?
I think he's going to walk. I think he wasn't impressed with the scheme that they implemented from the indication that I was reading in Arizona. From what I heard, well, we talked about it a little bit earlier on this, Ryan. We were saying that, I was saying that I would love Hollywood in Indianapolis just to offset Pittman there, and I know they have downs and they've got some speed there, but I think that adding another receiver to that rookie would be great. But I would also not be surprised if he goes after the bag and goes to like a place like Carolina that really needs a priority wide receiver, and they're going to probably have to spend up because of the mess that they put themselves in. So that's also a place where I think he could be. But for me, man, I'm big on Hollywood. There's a couple questions in our Discord recently, and I know a lot of people are out. They're selling out on selling them, trying to get out of them, and I'm all over them. I mean, on a points per game basis, he was injured last year. Kyler was injured last year, but if you just watch him over the seasons, he hasn't really lost much, and he's on a points per game basis. He's in that wide receiver 2, so wide receiver 13 through 24 range on a consistent enough basis for me, where I love him as my wide receiver 2, and I'm absolutely ecstatic as a wide receiver 3 or 4 in the case of Awesome Brian here. So hey, Awesome Brian, awesome job, buddy.
Yeah, love that. I mean, I'm same with you. I have Hollywood still ranked very high in my rankings. I'm taking him in every draft. My game is just to see how long I can wait for him, and then when I feel like it's absolutely ridiculous, I pull the trigger. Because, like you said, I think he is a wide receiver 2 all day long, and then he has wide receiver 1 upside where we've seen it. We've seen him put together a ridiculous run of top 5, top 8 PPR ceiling there. So I think he got in a little bit of a bad situation in this last year and the season before. Like I said, through like the first 6, 7, 8 games before Kyler got hurt and everything else the Cardinals dealt with, and he got hurt, I believe. He was wide receiver 5 or 6 in PPR, just absolutely slaying it. So it's there. It can happen. Wouldn't love it if he went to Carolina, but still very much buying as far as the Hollywood Brown game goes.
Alex thinks he's going to the Dallas Cowboys.
That would be interesting.
Jerry's opinion
like that too.
he can be had at a discount.
Mm.
Which
Well,
I mean,
they're
they got
probably
Brandon Cooks.
They're
It's
probably
kinda
going to
like
cut
Hollywood, cheap
Gallup.
Hollywood.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Carolina seems to pop up a lot. If Jacksonville lost Calvin Ridley, potentially there.
I wouldn't mind that
like
spot.
that.
You know, the Giants coming in, getting some Hollywood, adding some more,
I don't like that for
receivers
Hollywood.
to that room. I mean, I don't really love that for Hollywood either. Patriots.
Hate that for Hollywood.
I mean, if they draft one of these top 3 quarterbacks, and we're, I'm drawing a blank on Mayo as put an emphasis on, hey, we need to be, up with the times on offense, and we need to have the guy who defenses have to focus on, and a receiver that you have to double, and we need to be able to match, good players on offense, which, is not where the Patriots have been over the last decade necessarily, without, a few surprise white guys and Randy Moss,
Yeah. I mean, be cautious on the Patriots. Be cautious on the Seahawks this year. I mean, there's a massive change going on there. So the landing spots where you're like, man, I hate to have X go here. Like I think there's some environmental changes that are happening that I think will in the long run pay off. But I think it's going to create some value in the fantasy world. Looks like we had a run on red. If you want to recap us.
Yeah. Where were we? We were coming around the corner with Montgomery. We had Stevenson and Lloyd go, and then Amari Godwin, which at 9.5, Godwin is outstanding value. I mean,
yes, all day.
Aaron Jones, Will Levis at 9.7 seems pretty good. Keon Coleman 9.8, Swift 9.9, Downs 9.10, Keenan Allen 9.11, and Watson 9.12. Blake Corum 10.1, Ferguson 10.2, Robinson 10.3, which I don't know. I depend. Let's see what the Commanders do in the draft here, but it feels like Robinson is a really good running back value at this point. Same with Tony Pollard, man. I mean, I know it wasn't what you wanted it to be, but it feels like the bottom fell out. Those Tony Pollard guys, that bottom fell out awful quick for them. They have
silent.
Yeah, no backbone. Them boys are just like, I'm out on Tony Pollard, which, usually a lot of the times I like to buy in on these guys who we know are pretty good. They let you down. The post type sleeper, a lot of the times people are like reluctant to get back in, and it's
He's
like
that's
usually when you get the good value on him. I mean, I don't want to you talking about him in the 8, 9, 10, like, yeah, I think he can get you done and have a really nice season. I love Deontay Johnson at 10.6, Freiermuth 10.7, Wright popping up there at 10.8 because he, his draft capital from that combine performance is going to really push him up. Calvin Ridley's been a guy I've been drafting a lot of. Just feel like you can really get a really solid value on an awesome wide receiver there. I mean, he was wide receiver 18, I think, last year, and I think again everyone was hyping him up so much that everybody's like, "Oh, he sucks." He left points on the board as well. And now I haven't read the reception perceptions out, but it was the lot of green and yellow on his routes. So it looked like he was out there and on it. And I mean, yeah, he's a little older, but he also has 2 years of tread that didn't get put on those tires. So I've been drafting a lot of Calvin Ridley. We saw Penix go. We got a nice little run on running backs right there. Then we got Hollywood at 11.4. This draft, if I was in this draft right now, I would have been trading so much in this back half of this fucking draft because there is so much value to be gobbled up here. I mean, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry to say JC on here, but
you?
Cole Kmet at 12.4. What is happening? That's a 7th, 8th round pick all day long. This is tight end premium. What are we doing here? This isn't 2023. It's 2024 Kmet redemption tour.
Yeah.
He's back, baby.
Pie to the face, nonetheless.
He's still like 24. He crushed it last year. He's probably going to get Caleb Williams. What are we doing here? Golly, that is crazy. Jahan Dotson or Cole Kmet? Come on. What do we do? Derrick Henry or Cole Kmet? What are we talking about?
He is 24. Jesus.
Yeah, that is insane. All of these tight ends outside of David Njoku, you have to take Kmet in front of that. Get out of here. That's ridiculous. You can still come back and get Ferguson and Ingram. I'm always cool with getting two tree, good starting tight ends. Got to get Kmet before 12-4. That's ridiculous. B Matt over there with the Bears sign. He couldn't even believe it. It's like Kmet's it's not even like he's buried in the ADP. He was screaming at the top of that fucking tight end thing for rounds.
Yeah.
I think they just put him on his team because he had a logo. They were like, listen, he can't go any further. He's got to be here. That's insane. Sorry.
Just got to auto draft him at that point, for real.
Yeah. Sorry, boys. Go and Schultz.
Alex said, get him.
No movement for Schultz there.
Tell them.
But, there we got Daniel Jones. Here's that little red spot you were talking about. We got Daniel Jones, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, and Geno Smith all popping off here in the 12th, which is, 11th, 12th round. That's absolutely insane. Like this Josh Allen guy just waited until 11-12 to go ahead and pick up Daniel Jones, and then he went right back and got Derek Carr. So if Daniel Jones doesn't work out, I know Derek Carr isn't the most sexy thing in the world, but he's startable, and by the end of the season, he was all right. I don't personally enjoy Derek Carr. He seems like a little bit of a J.O. Who tries. He's kind of like
that's jerk off.
He's kind of seems like he might be kind of
he wears guy liner. What do you expect from a man?
Might be the sort of white version of Russell Wilson a little bit. Like he tries to appease everybody in the public of this great guy that he is, but he's probably maybe kind of sort of a little bit of a jerk off behind the scenes, and nobody really fucks with him. I don't know.
He's kind of a jerk off on the scenes.
Just kind of the vibes I'm picking up from the rest of the boys around there.
Or just watch his interview and he's just like, yeah, they all suck.
Why does he have that accent? He's like, gosh, man, like he's fucking from Texas. He's from Fresno, California, isn't he? Like, what's happening? I don't understand.
That doesn't
scream. Well, we just weren't executing out there very well. I don't really understand what's going on. Gosh, man.
I don't know if that's his accent.
He's got a really odd,
whatever it is, it doesn't
drawl.
Mascara.
He's got like some weird southern drawl that's going on with that. David Carr sounds nothing like that.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's just putting on a facade. I don't know.
He's the white Russell Wilson, which
he's the dashboard confessionals of quarterbacks. We've already kind of established that.
I don't know if we should give him that much credit, or are we not giving dashboard credit? Shout out to Matt Foreman.
Shout out to Foreman.
Seething.
So Bucky Irvin though still going 11-6 here. That's still pretty good value on Bucky. So somebody's hoodie over there. He's a veteran of these drafts here. He's not scared. He's going right back in on Bucky. I like that Kyron or the Kendre. I can't get enough of Kendre right now. What he showed me at the end of last year and just that little one game was so good. Exactly what I thought he could be, but we got some obstacles to overcome there. They got a terrible deal with Jamal Williams there, which that was dumb.
Yep.
And then, what's going to happen with Alvin Kamara? Is he going to stay around? They're going to trade him. Can they get out of that cap, or are they just going to roll one more year? If they roll one more year, then bummer with Kendre there. So
bummer. Yeah.
But yeah, some of these team builds here looking kind of fun. Like I said, this Josh Allen guy just got to just come through here and pick up all sorts of talent, and then worry about getting back-to-back quarterbacks and just slapping them in there at 11, 12, and 2-1. We got at the 1-2 spot, we got Mahomes and Purdy, and then he waited to grab Rodgers. I guess if you're going to get some Purdy injury and you need a third, you can grab Rodgers. It probably wouldn't be my.
You don't need a third. It's nice to try for a third.
Sure, and out of town.
Don't want that in town third.
No,
I want to be running into that.
That's a headache. I'm Kyle, and I'm from Saskatchewan. You're getting nothing accurate from me.
We're talking about third sexual partner.
Oh, thanks for laying that out.
Yeah, well, I didn't want people to be confused.
So, I probably would have maybe gone a different route with my third, with having those two guys at the top, maybe.
Listen, you can't always be choosy with that third.
What do you think, Big D? You like Rodgers? I like the value on Rodgers there because I think he could be awesome potentially, but it doesn't hurt you a ton there. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think I understand the concept of what he's going for. He kind of wants that stability with the potential of upside if Rodgers is going to cook like everyone thought he was going to last year. But I think I would have rather add what Knicks went 7 spots after. Mm-hmm. So maybe a rookie just to see if I can catch something in the
lightning in a bottle.
lightning in a bottle type of thing,
Mm.
or even, I mean,
Yeah.
I know that Russ is out of favor with most people, but I mean, including the Broncos. But I mean, with that cap hit and the fact that his contract is going to be attractive to, I think his ability to have a contract that will be attractive to other teams, whether he chooses to do that or not, is we'll see. But anyways, the point is that I still think Russ can play, and so if I'm going age, I might have went Russ there. But personally, I probably would have went younger. I probably would have went Knicks,
Yeah.
but I don't hate it. I understand what the concept is. He's going to compete this year with that roster, and he wants to make sure he's got a nailed down quarterback too. So
Yeah. No,
there's
when
no
you
hate in
put
my heart.
when you put Diggs and Evans and Keenan Allen on your roster, why might as well throw Aaron Rodgers in there and just
Yeah.
make sure. So yeah, I can get down with it, but
And as long as
I'm
you're serving
mostly
oatmeal and you're going to bed at 7, you're good. Like
yeah. I
all
mostly
that
agree with kind of what you're saying. That was kind of what I was alluding to. Team 3 here, we got Hurts and then Puka and Odunze, Taylor, Pitts, Debo, Pacheco, Jacobs, Downs. So wide receivers. Odunze is a little bit of a question mark there, but I like him a lot. And then he comes down here at 13-10, gets a good value on Williams, Mike Williams, that is, who's old. Nobody wants him, has been hurt, but has put up solid game logs in the past. So
yeah, he's hoping for a terrific season so he can get sponsored by Vapor Rub or something. But yeah, I mean,
and Downs in that role could really explode this year with Richardson back on the scene.
mm-hmm.
And then B-Matt here working in the 4 spot. He's got Jackson, Lawrence, Hill, Pittman, Higgins, Walker, Cup, Benson, Swift. So that's a nice little start. And then he comes down here and grabs Ingram, which I love, tight end premium Ingram. Saw a lot of balls last year. And then Jamison Williams is a lot of a dart throw I like to take. Then Cole Kmet, you can start Cole Kmet and Evan Ingram every week if you want to.
Yeah.
Both.
Flex in your flex. Yep.
Right. And then you got Russell down here, which I like. I mean, at this point, since everybody hates Russ, I'm in.
Yeah, baby.
Which
I've been, Seattle hat
13-9. I mean, he's not in Seattle anymore, so
yeah, we always would be in Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, but 13-9, I'll take a shot there, man. I mean, was it awesome all the time for Russell last year? No. I will give him some credit for taking all that shit because it does seem like Sean Payton, who I also think is a bit of a JO.
Not a bit.
Yeah. Took it and didn't say shit, at least outside. So, I gotta give Russ some props for that. But yeah, fantasy wise, the points that he put up weren't awful. And if you're getting him at 13-9 and he goes to a situation, he could play for the veteran minimum and they can stack the roster around him because the Broncos are paying him a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
It
put him in Atlanta, and we talked about a couple of the wide receivers that are open out there. I mean, I wouldn't mind that, him throwing to London
Pittsburgh.
And say Hollywood's there, and you got the Pitts and Bijan and just all kinds of fun. Yeah, Pittsburgh would be fun too. Like I think Tomlin can handle his bigger than life personality, so I wouldn't mind that. I think I like Atlanta a little more just because of the weapons in comparison to the weapons in Pittsburgh. But I mean, not that the weapons are bad in Pittsburgh, just talent wise,
Yeah, I think style of play fits Pittsburgh a little more than what Atlanta's going to be looking to do, which is why I think Fields would be a lot of fun. But I feel like they need a bit more of a pro style quarterback to deliver all these. What they're going to want to do is 3 wide receivers and they're going to want a good run game. But
they should just bring in Gardner Minshew.
Yeah,
I mean the dude can. I mean that's the one thing he can do is he can feed wide receivers. So if they're going to run a 3 wide receiver set, I mean Minshew would be a cheap alternative for competition for Pickett.
Yeah. So obviously we're only going 15 rounds here, so you don't get to build out the whole team, but it's in the sake of time, we try to keep everybody interested and going through. And 15 seems like a good number to round it out within around an hour. So you don't get to see the full outcome of a team build. You can add a lot of other things here. I like this Herbert, Love, Olave, and then he goes Tua at 4-6. Would you have gone Tua there?
Personally, no, but I don't hate it. I mean, I know that I'm down. I've always been a little bit down on Tua because he throws left-handed. Just kidding. For those who know, I like Penix. But I don't hate it. I completely understand. He's got a decent floor as far as points goes, and I just don't think he necessarily has the ceiling. But
Yeah, I like
and
the idea of having 4 quarterbacks. I'm fine with it. I just at that point, I think I would have rather like you got 2 good guys. Love we're pretty sure is ascending up, and I have no problem with Tua at all. But you could have just added a really, you could have added Drake London or Jalen Waddle or DJ Moore, Hawkinson for me because I'm a tight end guy. Just
Cole Kmet. Just kidding.
yeah.
Well,
So. And then he doesn't really get a tight end. Dulcich, I love the stab on it, but
Yeah.
we probably need one more. But again, this is a mock. We're going in, trying different things. We missed out, and you can trade for a tight end.
Well, you could trade for a tight end, and there's also a couple still on the board there. I think that I'm trying to see if I can pull it up here on my phone, but yeah, I mean, Juwan Johnson, you've got some late round stabs that he could stab at tight end and still get some decent value there. Noah Fant still out there, and I think he'll land somewhere.
Yeah.
Get a better chance. So
right,
anyway.
that's kind of what I was.
Yeah.
When you can't get all the way, you can't take a couple more of those stabs to fill out the back
Right.
end when you go, negative on a position essentially through the draft.
Yeah,
you can't take all those stabs that you could get one to start each week, basically. So
Yep.
it looks a little funky. Then up here, so this hoodie goes Stroud and Daniels, but then adds Rattler at the end. I'd like to see him add, something else in the middle. I love that he added Bucky here potentially, but you could have thrown, a Gino or a Russell or a Carr on the team and shored things up. But he's pretty young almost everywhere, so that's all right.
Yeah.
He's got Wilson and Waddle and JSN and Franklin and Barkley, and then he goes Aaron Jones. So I don't mind. Go ahead.
I don't mind the build. I think he's at that like semi-competitive. If it goes south, I can sell some pieces here, type of thing. And if some of this youth hits, I'll be in really good shape. So yeah, I don't mind the way that he built this out. It looks decent.
Yeah. Let's look at this team, how it finished up. That didn't take a quarterback off the rip. He took Chase, Brees, Fields, Achan, Rice, Kittle, Cook, and then he got Stafford, Cooper, Ridley, Brown, Nix, got Musgrave, Corley, and then Ray Davis. So some good rookie stabs at the end there, and then he kept it pretty young, but then took some stabs in Cooper and Ridley. And then, Hollywood, I feel like could fit in any build right now because he's 26, kind of right down the middle. And then he did take the stab on Nix. So he's kind of ready to roll. He managed to navigate not taking a quarterback early and still come in here. And I think he can be a competitive team as long as everything stays healthy, because these older wide receivers are going to produce. We know that. Rashee Rice, probably going to be good. Achan could be a league winner as 2 running backs are going to be tough to deal with week in, week out.
Yeah.
And then Cook is, a nice third to have in your rotation. You can flex him some weeks if you need him. And if somebody gets hurt, you got him. Kittle, we know, can be awesome. And then he paired that with Musgrave. So nice draft. Awesome. Brian navigating, not starting quarterback.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah. So, and then the other non-quarterback starter, we had CD, St. Brown, then he went Dak. So each guy going 3rd round quarterback, which if you can get Dak in the 3rd, I think that's awesome. And then TJ Hawkinson, which, I love that. Nico, we talked about this one a little bit. Deshaun, Brian Thomas, Kamara, Montgomery, and then he goes Penix, gets him a 3rd, but the rookie that liked that a lot. Then he took Braylon Allen there, which is a polarizing guy. JT Sanders to go, young guy with an already studded out tight end. He might need another tight end to start the season with potentially.
Yeah.
And then two more rookies to add to this: Leggett and or Leggett and Tez Walker, and then Chuba at the end. Nice little stab. So I think a really, really solid build there as well. Might need a tight end to start the season. But
you think Tez Walker should go before that?
I don't really know. That's just probably maybe a little. But
seems like a fun stab.
It is. I think it is a really fun. Like we got a bunch of rookies here in the 14th round, some in the 13th round. So those are good spots to stab at those rookies. They got Wicks at 211 and Douglas at 13-2. Those are some of my
12-11.
Favorite later round stabs that are pretty young that could be a whole lot of fun. Jacoby Myers is another one, 12-12. We know kind of what's going on there. Anything else on this board that you want to talk about, Big D, before we get out of here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that I liked how all three of the teams that started with no quarterback, how they kind of ended up. I especially in this particular draft, flow wise, it seemed like it was pretty even. So there's not really a team on here that, I mean, that's the nice thing about the NFL, man, is there all this talent that we're looking at next year. If we put this draft board up, we're going to see some atrocious picks, right? Like, but as of right now, the way it stands right now, I there's some that I would have probably built a little bit different, but I mean, for the most part, I feel like this league would be pretty competitive going into it, right? Like there's not a productive struggle, complete productive struggle build going on here. There's a couple that can pivot to it, but but everybody's going to be competitive. So this feels like it would be a fun league to get in and start the trading process. So.
Yeah, that's kind of, like Hoodie's build a little bit would, that's what I was kind of getting to when we got to Aaron Jones. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm taking Aaron Jones there. But if for some reason he comes out and starts smashing, Aaron Jones can really carry him, and Saquon can carry him to a higher ground here. Or he can kind of pivot off those guys, maybe not get as good as value as what he drafted him, but still be able to trade away and get himself into the 1-1 to 1-3 sweepstakes probably heading into next year, and have a really young team that he doesn't have much to really worry about there. Quarterback wise, he's good. Tight end wise, he's good. Running back's the only spot that he's a little old, and he took two rookies, or Kendrick's not a rookie, but another stab at it, and then two more rookie wide receivers, 3 rookie wide receivers if you count Troy Franklin up there. So he might have like kind of the most productive-ish struggle build. But a lot of those times, depending on how my top of my draft starts, like we were talking about Rome Odunze to start this, I'll take Rome in a lot of places, and then depending on how the next couple of picks go, I might because I took Rome, if I feel like the rest of my team's good and either middle-aged or still young, I might do kind of the same thing as he did and take an Aaron Jones. But I'm usually looking at like a Cooper Kupp or an older wide receiver to kind of mitigate my first season from Rome Odunze potentially if it doesn't go week in, week out to start, or at least to start the season to see what Rome's been doing. Taking one of those older wide receivers to kind of mitigate that risky pick I took in the rookie wide receivers early.
Yeah, and it's a good strategy because, like we were saying earlier, if the team starts to go, if your personal team starts to go south, you got some injuries, yada yada yada, those older veterans still have value as long as it's not them that got hurt, right? You still can get some value out of them as the season progresses, and you could pivot to a productive struggle, relatively easy. So
pivot. All right, let's wrap this thing up and get the FF out of here. And be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another live startup mock. So be sure to be following us on Twitters at the FF Dynasty for that. Or you can hop in the Discord with $5 holler and get on board with that. We're doing we got 2-3 slow drafts going on right now, trying to build up some ADP for the post-draft stuff. Me and Austin are going to hammer out some more rookies. We got Snoog coming back on. We got JB from the Dynasty Theory coming back on next week. So a lot of fun stuff lined up. We're going to be talking rookies. We're going to be talking veterans. We got franchise tags and all that good stuff. Free agent and the league calendar opening up, and we're already starting to get little cracks and crevices of a lot of the times it's not quite as exciting as you think it's going to be, and this is kind of how it's playing out a little bit again, especially for the skill positions. Like franchises go down, and it seems like we might get some shuffle of some running backs, so that'll be fun. But I don't know how many wide receivers are really going to go too many other places. It doesn't seem like a ton right at the moment. So it seems like Calvin Ridley may go back to the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. So it seems like there are some fun lower guys that like I know Curtis Samuel's a guy that just hits that list, and not that sexy, but could really help a team kind of moving forward. So those guys will get jostled around a bit, I'm sure. So we really appreciate you guys, and hopefully we'll catch you next time. Big D, good to see you.
Yeah, and if go over to the City Paper Best of Charleston. I'll put a link down in the description. We've been nominated for the best local podcast in Charleston, South Carolina. Shout out to whoever nominated us, because I did not hustle for that this time. Fun party, so go vote for your boys. Find a Charleston zip code to use when you're registering if you need to. That would be much appreciated. If you listen on the podcast, 5-star review on the iTunes or the Spotify's. Make sure you like, subscribe. Head over to patreon.com/FF Dynasty. Hop in these mocks, right? Get your roster reviewed. Join the Discord community. We do have a free Discord channel now that we created. So if you go over to Patreon, there is a free membership option, and there's a link there to join the free Discord. But we're giving priority to the roster reviews and stuff like that for the people in the pleasure chest. But ADP is going to drop soon. We got pre-combine ADP. We'll keep that getting updated as we move. We just got a bunch of mock drafts. That's where you're going to go to get in those mock drafts. And go to revelrybrewingco.com to get one of these fresh teas. Anything else? We covered all our bases.
We're out.
That's all our.
Well, Jay had one question. If he's still listening, he said. He said, do you post them on YouTube, the roster reviews? We post some of them on YouTube, Jay. We post some of them inside a Patreon-only episode. So it's kind of a variety, just to answer that last question.
Yeah.
Later, boys. Good stuff.
All right, buddy. Yeah, good to see you. We'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.